With only 2 games remaining in the regular season, the Toronto Maple Leafs welcome in the top-notch Tampa Bay Lightning to Scotiabank Arena for the final home game of the regular season, and before they end off the year in Montreal on Saturday night. And 2 teams that score a ton of goals more or less finish in a 2-1 game, a 3-1 with an empty netter by Kucherov. The Leafs actually scored first, though. I think it was Ryan McDonough fires a pass across the blue line. You don't really want to do that. Mitch Marner ends up picking the puck up, and he comes out on a 2-on-1. He looks at John Tavares for the entire way. Everyone's expecting a pass, and he rips it 5-hole on Andrei Vasilevsky. Zach Hyman gets the lone assist. Marner with his career-high 26th goal of the year. And the Leafs, they got the lead. We go to the second period. The Leafs get a power play. 5 minutes in. Things are going great. Riley takes a shot off the sideboards, gets blocked. Meanwhile, Steven Stamkos is busting it up the middle on a breakaway. And he just squeaks it through Frederik Andersen to tie the game at 1 with the short-handed marker. Well, that sucks. But it's okay. It's a 1-1 game. You know, we're not too worried. It's all right. And Frederik Andersen, up until this point, has allowed 1 goal on 18 shots after 2 periods of play. The Leafs only hold the Lightning to 18 shots in the first 2 periods. Excuse me. They had 20. The Leafs were the ones with 18 shots in the first and second period. The Lightning shoot 20, which isn't bad considering how good their offense is. Now, ideally, they do not have Victor Hedman, and coming into the game today, the Leafs do not have Nazem Kadri, and they don't have Jake Muzzin, both to do with rest. So, you know, we can say, well, we didn't lose because we didn't have those guys. Yeah, well, they didn't have Norris Trophy candidate Victor Hedman. So, I mean, we're not going to go off of this whole, oh, if this guy had this guy, if this team had this guy, and if they had this guy, and this happened. In the end, it doesn't really matter. We're all locked into playoff spots. We don't care. Let's just play this last game and get it over and done with. That's really all we're thinking. But Frederik Andersen, guys, I thought for the second consecutive game, played very, very solid for the Leafs. He allowed 2 goals on 28 shots. And that second goal, which was an Alex Killorn kind of knuckler onto the net, it all starts with a turnover, as do a lot of the Leafs goals against. And then Stamkos goes see, the problem is, right, Stamkos gets the puck and goes down low, and it's fine having one defenseman beyond him. I think it was Travis Dermott. I think that's fine. But the fact that Calle Rosen, and I understand he's a younger player, and he won't be playing for this team in the playoffs unless an injury occurs, but he starts floating towards Stamkos. You don't start puck watching and start watching the puck, right? I mean, obviously Stamkos sees that and sees Alex Killorn at the top of the slot. Well, I'd say the top of the circles, really. And he fires back to him for a one-timer. Like I said, it was a knuckler. It might have even hit Calle Rosen, who actually tried to block the shot. He tried to play goalie there. And it might have even hit him and went top cheese, the knuckler. Frederik Andersen trying to dive across to make the big save, but obviously can't because he's down and out trying to sprawl across to make the save. And it goes in as the Lightning lead with just under 6 minutes to play in the third period. It's tough. But, I mean, you put a guy like Jake Muzzin in there instead of Calle Rosen, that play could be made, right? So, we're not going to sit here and say this is why this team lost, this is that. Look, the shots were 30-29, and for the most part, you lost 2-1 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, I understand we lost. I get it, and I know it sucks, and I know the Leafs' play of late has not been great. They've lost 2 straight. They're 3-5-2 in their last 10. They're not going into the playoffs feeling good, but it doesn't matter because the playoffs are what matters. You look last year, right? The Tampa Bay Lightning actually went into the playoffs stumbling. But they crushed the New Jersey Devils in round 1. It didn't matter how they ended the season. And as for the Leafs, you had Jake Gardiner come back tonight. Great to see him out there. I don't care what his plus minus was. I don't even know what it was. And I don't care if he looked a little sloppy. It is great to see him out there because the Leafs, they averaged 3.7 goals against per game without Jake Gardiner. I know we talk about how bad he is and the turnovers and blah, blah, blah. He's not a bad defenseman. And then the fact that the Leafs are going to go into the playoffs with Jake Muzzin, Jake Gardiner and Travis Dermott with Morgan Riley. And, you know, I mean, obviously this team is going to look a lot better. Nikita Zaitsev as well. You know, these guys are going to, well, hopefully at least, they're going to look good come playoff time. But the next game for the Leafs is on Saturday night in Montreal. They lost in regulation to the Washington Capitals today. And I don't know how that works. Columbus, they do not play today. Am I right? Carolina, did Carolina win? They won 3-1. So I'm pretty sure they've locked up that first wild card spot. They have. So as for the Montreal Canadiens, their playoff hopes lie on a Columbus and New York Rangers game tomorrow. If the Rangers come away with the victory against Columbus in New York, the Montreal Canadiens need at least 1 point against the Leafs on Saturday night. So there's your playoff implication. Actually, I think Columbus has 2 games remaining. So for Montreal losing today, you need Columbus to lose both games. One on Saturday, and then obviously the one tomorrow. So for the Leafs, we'll figure out tomorrow night, really, if Saturday's game against the Habs will mean anything at all. Now, if Columbus loses, it could have a lot of implications on Saturday night. It could be quite an interesting game there on Saturday in Montreal, all right? And if people are dwelling on this loss over Tampa, just don't. Because both teams are not serious right now. Look, they're just trying to play it out. They're playing their fourth lines more than they usually would come playoff time. They're playing guys more than they should. Calle Rosen was out there in the final couple minutes of the game. You think come playoff time he's going to be out there? No, he's not. But it's because there's no way you're changing the standings. And yes, people can say, oh, records-wise, you want to hit 100 points, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. If the Leafs win Saturday against Montreal or lose on Saturday against Montreal, it doesn't mean squat. Because you're facing Boston on the road to start this first round of the playoffs. Yes, would I have loved to see the Leafs come away with the victory today and say they beat the Tampa Bay Lightning? Absolutely. I would be an idiot if I said that I would not have loved to see that. But we didn't. You lost 2-1 to a very good team, and Andrei Vasilevsky made some big saves again. Now, I know people are going to say, well, even if you get past Boston, you're not going to have to play Tampa Bay. Right, but everyone loves talking about how Tampa Bay is, not a great playoff team and blah, 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 and how the President's Trophy winning teams usually don't win. And for the Leafs, it's a playoff game. It doesn't matter what the regular season suggests. Yeah, the Lightning are 61-16-4 right now. If they don't win a cup, it's a failure. For the Leafs, I think for all us fans, let's get out of the first round. Then even if we lose to Tampa, I think it's a positive. Guys, you can't dwell on this game. All we're doing is really ticking down the time, right, until next Thursday when April 10th happens and the playoffs maybe it's Wednesday. When the playoffs start to get going. That's when it really matters. Once the Leafs clinch the playoff spot, once they clinched that 3rd seed, the rest of the thought was just get healthy. And they are. And now we just got to be like, all right, here we go. Even though we play on Saturday, you don't look at that game as anything. All right? So you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. If you guys enjoyed this video and you guys enjoyed this game today, because it was entertaining. Both goalies played great, but the Leafs lost. Hit that like button. I do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below, guys. What'd you think of the game? What'd you think of the video? Also, what were your thoughts on Freddie Andersen today? Back-to-back games where he's not looked half bad, and that is amazing to see come playoff time. Now, he'll be playing, I'm pretty sure, against Montreal on Saturday as well. It would be great to see him have 3 good games heading into the playoffs. It would be spectacular to see. Mitch Marner, unbelievable. The best Leaf on the ice tonight by far. And Look, the playoffs are right around the corner, people. That's all what we're waiting for right now. One game left, people. And the Maple Leaf Square will be bumping. I'm going to be down there. I know. I'm hoping you guys will be down there with me watching these games. I'm going to be down there hopefully with a few people as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys are jacked up because I know I am. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys, on the first, at least the first Saturday of the playoffs. It's going to be a lot of fun for Leafs Nation down in the Square. All right? So thank you guys so much for listening. And Evan and I will talk to you guys podcast edition. It'll be either next Wednesday or Thursday. Link is in the description for the podcast channel, guys, and for the podcast itself on iTunes. Twitter is also down below. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff, and I will talk to you guys Blue Jays edition very shortly as they almost got no hit. They lost 4-1 to the Cleveland Indians in game 1 of the 4-game set against them. And as for the Raptors, guys, their next game, if I'm not mistaken, is tomorrow as they head to Charlotte to take on the Hornets. It's a 7 o'clock tip-off in Charlotte, Charlotte. What am I? Where? Wow, I'm all over the place. It's in Florida. Charlotte, yeah, what am I saying? What am I doing? South Carolina? You can tell I don't really know all the states too well. But you can see right there, the Raptors are in Charlotte tomorrow night, 7 o'clock tip-off down there in Charlotte. And as for the Leafs, guys, like we've talked about, the final game of the season for the Toronto Maple Leafs is this Saturday in Montreal. 7 o'clock puck drop. Frederik Andersen, Carey Price, the expected starters. It could have huge playoff implications for the Habs. And as for the Leafs, if it means resting, guys, so be it. Do what you have to do to get ready for round 1 against the Bruins starting next week. I'm jacked up. I know you guys are. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you guys then.